In the midst of an investigation, in a congressional hearing watched by millions, a Congress member said 5 words, and those 5 words took everyone's breath away in the room. Release the Epstein files now. FBI Director Kash Patel sat motionless at the witness stand, his jaw tense, his eyes fixated on Raskin. The cameras focused on both faces. The hall fell silent. But beneath that silence, there was something that no one could see at that moment. Patel had been waiting for this moment for 7 months, and in the folder in front of him, there were documents that were claimed to have the potential to change everything. Keep watching this video, because this story is much more than a trial. This is the story of how the issue of corporate accountability, legal processes, and public pressure intersect, and what this intersection can lead to. But before getting to the main question, one must ask, when an FBI director commits to 6 indictments in a congressional hearing under oath and then actually fulfills that commitment, what kind of process is this the product of? The answer to this question dates back to February 2025. Chapter 1. The folder on the 7th floor. February 20th, 2025, J. Edgar Hoover Building, Washington, D.C. When Kash Patel entered the FBI director's office, all the previous director's photos were hanging on the walls, and now his photo was there too. The confirmation vote was one of the narrowest in FBI history, 51 to 49, and there was a yellow envelope in his predecessor's bottom drawer. There was a handwritten note. "You'll have to decide what to do with this. I couldn't do it. Good luck." The contents of the envelope, according to information reflected to the public and various media reports, consisted of extensive documents related to an investigation that was allegedly closed over the years. The documents bore 3 words: permanently closed. According to reports, these files contained witness statements, flight records, and names. There were many names, and Patel's decision that morning was understood from his later statements. These files would not remain in place, but it was not right to disclose everything immediately because some materials were restricted by court orders. Grand jury testimonies were legally protected. A solid strategy was needed. What didn't Patel know? 7 months later, a congressman named Jaime Raskin would publicly question this process. Chapter 2. The Courtroom. September 17, 2025, House Judiciary Committee. The courtroom was overflowing. Press members were leaning against the walls, waiting. This was not Patel's first committee hearing, but the atmosphere was different. When Patel sat down at the table in his Navy suit, across from him, in front of Jaime Raskin, there was a black folder stamped classified, declassified. Raskin was looking at him, with that sharp, measured look given by his prosecutorial experience. The first hours were normal. Crime statistics, border security, and personnel decisions were discussed. Routine questions were asked, and prepared answers were given. But everyone was waiting for the real clash to begin. At 11:47, the committee chair gave the floor to Raskin. Chapter 3. 5 words. Raskin stood up. He walked to the podium with heavy, measured steps. He spoke with the authority of someone who has taught constitutional law for years. "Director Patel, I want to talk about the Epstein files." Whispers rose in the hall. This had been a pressure point for months. Those demanding the full disclosure of the files, those accusing Patel of protecting influential names. Speculation followed one after another. Raskin continued. Patel had made very specific promises before becoming the FBI director. In a public interview in 2023, he argued that the names of pedophiles should be disclosed. He stated that Epstein's black book was directly under the control of the FBI director. It's been 7 months. Why were the names not revealed? This was a question that took years to prepare. Chapter 4. Trap and Countermove. Patel's response was measured. The FBI had released more Epstein-related material in the last 7 months than in the previous 6 years combined. Raskin interjected, "I didn't ask that," and the question was a clear double bind. If you say yes, you have to explain why it wasn't disclosed. If you say no, you contradict court records. Patel chose a third path, and Raskin continued. Are there other names in witness statements, and did he personally review the files? Patel replied, Yes, I reviewed them. How many people's names are mentioned? I can't share this information in an open session. It was Raskin's turn to present his folder. He announced that there are thousands of pages of FBI communication documents which are alleged to have been leaked to the public. Patel spoke calmly but clearly. Those documents may have been shared as classified materials without following the proper procedures. This should be evaluated independently. Raskin's face hardened, but Patel continued. Congressman Raskin, I understand you are demanding transparency, but I want you to understand this. Why was this investigation buried for so long? Who decided to suppress the witness statements? Who created that list of people who shouldn't be investigated? The room froze completely. Patel did something no living FBI director has dared to do. He publicly stated a cover-up allegation spanning multiple administrations. At this point, it should be noted, if you will continue to follow this issue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because this process is not yet closed, and we continue to closely monitor the developments. Chapter 5. 4 Categories. Raskin's statement had changed. The attack plan he had prepared had gone off the rails. Patel continued. He explained that the individuals named by the witnesses fall into 4 categories. First category: individuals who have previously been prosecuted, investigated, or have passed away. These files are already accessible through public court proceedings. Second category: names mentioned in witness statements with sufficient supporting evidence. Since active investigations are ongoing, disclosing these names could pave the way for evidence destruction. Third category: names mentioned in witness statements but lacking sufficient supporting evidence to meet legal standards. Sharing these names with the public could raise both legal and ethical issues. Fourth category. Patel stopped. Everyone in the room leaned forward. Individuals who were left out of the investigation by former FBI leadership on the grounds that their prosecution would lead to political complications. The room fell silent. There are 47 names on this list, Patel said. In the past 7 months, my team has examined each of these names individually and determined whether the investigation exemptions were granted for legal reasons or political calculations. Raskin found his voice. And what did you find? We concluded that 31 of these 47 individuals were excluded from the investigation without any legal justification. The protection decisions were based on political evaluations, not on lack of evidence. Then reveal the names. I can't disclose names while the investigation is ongoing, Patel said. But I can tell you this. 6 of those 31 people will be facing charges before the end of the year. The hall exploded. Chapter 6. Record-breaking 47 seconds. According to those who reviewed the C-SPAN recordings, Jaime Raskin remained silent at the podium for a full 47 seconds. His mouth opened, closed, and opened again. He looked at his black binder. He looked at Patel. He looked at the cameras. One of Congress's most experienced interrogators had encountered a move that would invalidate every question he had prepared. He finally spoke. His voice no longer had the same sharpness. Director Patel, are you explaining these 6 indictments for the record? I'm explaining it for the record, Patel said. Y si estas acusaciones no se materializan, estoy dispuesto a volver a esta sala en enero y rendir cuentas por ello. But I will say this. The FBI is actively building criminal cases against individuals who participated in or facilitated Jeffrey Epstein's operation. Cases that previous FBI leadership chose not to prosecute. Raskin closed the folder. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman. I have no other questions, Mr. President. Section 7. Public Reaction. The trial lasted another 2 hours, but no one could focus. Patel promised 6 Epstein indictments trended. Conservative media presented this as a fulfillment of the promise of transparency. Liberal commentators called for a more comprehensive and urgent explanation. But there was one thing everyone agreed on. In the long and dark history of the Epstein case, for the first time, an FBI director had publicly stated under oath that concrete prosecutions were on the way. Not reviews, investigations, not inquiries, indictments. The question was Kash Patel telling the truth? Or was he taking the biggest risk of his career? Chapter 8. The response came sooner than expected. According to public sources and news agency reports from the time, the process unfolded as follows. October 27th, a financial figure was indicted on human trafficking-related charges. November 15th, a figure from the technology sector faced charges related to sexual abuse. December 3rd, despite claiming diplomatic status, a foreign national faced accusations. December 12th, a well-known figure from the legal world was accused of facilitating human trafficking. December 19th, a figure from the real estate sector faced conspiracy charges. December 28th, sixth indictment. A former senior government official was charged with obstructing the Epstein investigation. This latest name pointed to the previous administration. Patel had fulfilled his commitment. At this point, I want to make a note. If you want to follow this type of documentary content and don't want to miss the analyses on corporate accountability issues, subscribing with notifications really makes a difference. We will continue to follow the progress of this process from here. Jaime Raskin evaluated the current state of the investigation. Director Patel fulfilled his commitment. 6 indictments came before the end of the year. This needs to be acknowledged. When evaluating her approach during the September hearing, she added, "I am not sorry for demanding accountability, but I am sorry that the previous FBI leadership failed for so long, and that 2,300-page document is still sitting in my hands. I won't comment while the investigations are ongoing." Patel was right. What the victims needed was not headlines, but convictions. This was Raskin conceding to Patel in front of the public eye. Chapter 10. An analysis of corporate accountability. This process presents a rare example of the tension between corporate accountability and legal proceedings. Patel could have explained everything from day one. According to some comments, this would immediately relieve public pressure but jeopardize ongoing investigations. According to another view, a systematic approach yielded more concrete results. Raskin, on the other hand, voiced the demand for corporate transparency in public. This pressure plays an important role in the functioning of accountability mechanisms. But according to Raskin's own admission, bringing these cases to court involved a much greater element of justice than instant transparency. There is a question open to debate here. When the requirements of corporate transparency conflict with those of active judicial processes, which approach serves the public interest more? The answer to this question could shape not only this case, but also the accountability mechanisms of government institutions in the future. Chapter 11. Questions still open. 6 indictments have come, but some questions remain unanswered. Is the process continuing for the remaining 25 names? Those who are considered to have political immunity from investigation, but have not yet received an indictment? Will the allegations that previous FBI directors closed investigations be subject to an independent review? Will the 2,300 pages in Raskin's possession be shared with the public after the investigations are completed? These questions have not yet been officially answered, and this process continues to remain on the public agenda. Last, 67 seconds and 7 months. Raskin made a request in 5 words in 67 seconds. Patel responded with 6 indictments over 7 months. What does that mean? Sometimes the strongest move is not to give the answer everyone expects, but to do the work needed to produce the result everyone expects. This case is not yet closed. The trial processes are ongoing. Some questions are still awaiting answers, and the issue of corporate accountability continues to be an area where democracies must constantly struggle. If you've watched this video up to this point, I assume you want to follow this type of documentary analysis. Subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications ensures that you won't miss updates on these topics. You can also write in the comments the points you agree or disagree with. Hearing different perspectives on such topics is truly valuable. After this video, you might want to check out our other analyses on the FBI and corporate accountability. You can find them in the right corner as well. See you in the next video.